So with this shiny, freshly rebuilt transmission here, I can't have this grimy, leaky transfer case behind it, so I'm going to go ahead and just clean it up and reseal it and get it painted today. And then since I pulled it all the way out, I'm going to go ahead and inspect the internals as well. This is the seal kit that I'll be using today. It's got all the gaskets and different seals. It was really cheap, it was only like 20 bucks, so I just bought the whole thing. I think I can make it look a lot nicer if I just strip it all the way down, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I went out and bought the sockets that I need. So I decided that I'm going to leave the idler gear inside of the case. I see no reason to mess with it. It looks like it's in good shape. But now what I'm going to do is tape off all the mating surfaces and then wire wheel the case, the tail housing piece, and the input housing piece and get those painted. So I ended up getting a replacement for the input bearing just because, I don't know why, but the chrome actually wore off, which seems a little strange. It's still smooth, but I get the feeling that this might overheat. So I got this. Here's the part number. This one's also kind of an upgrade because it has a steel cage instead of plastic. So hopefully this will be a winner. So as I was doing an inspection, I noticed that the forks are actually a little bit worn out. See how it's starting to eat into this surface? The actual pad is really worn down, so I might have to weld these and then grind them to bring that back up to the thickness it's supposed to be. Alright, got some more material on the shift forks, and now I'm just gonna file it down until they're a perfect fit inside the groove. Alright, now I'm going to do a final clean of the inside of the case parts. I'm going to replace all the seals. I'm going to get the yokes cleaned up, and then I'm going to start the reassembly process. Got the new PTO cover in place and torqued to 18 foot-pounds. I was successful getting this rail seal out just by splitting it with a cold chisel to weaken it, and then prying up on it until it's split in half and then just popping it out. Got the fresh ones pounded in with a socket. And on this one there was 2 seals. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but I have 2 seals in my kit, so I guess I'll put it in the same way. It just so happens that this 36mm impact was actually the perfect size to drive both the seals into place. I used this piece of wood to hit it flush. Just set that there, socket here, and hammer. And then once I got it flush, I used my socket and drove the lower one all the way down, and then I drove the second one on top of it. Alright, next the rail pins are going in. My shift rod is going to go in, oriented with the detents up. Next I've got my refreshed shift fork here, and this side of it is going to face in. Now I'm going to install the input. Now the snap ring. Alright, next the shorty goes in, again with the detents facing up. So now the beveled side of the selector ring and the taller side of the fork face forward. Next I'm going to install the roll pins through these 2 ports to retain the shifter forks. So the way I'm going to get it started is I just have the roll pin taped to my punch. There's one. Now I gotta do the other. I'm going to torque these to 30 foot-pounds. And I'm going to torque these to 30 foot-pounds. The torque specification given for the lock nut is 90 to 130 foot-pounds. So next, for the speedometer gear, the side with the recess faces up, and the side that's flush with the splines faces down. I'll finish torquing these once I have it installed on the case and it's easier to hold on to. And the torque on this one is the same as the other one. It is 90 to 130. Next, I'm going to load all the needle bearings back in, packed with Vaseline to keep them in place. And the order of operations here is I need to lift up the little thrust washer, so it's going to be snap ring on top, thrust washer, and then all of the needle bearings. Now I'm going to torque all of these bolts to 30 foot-pounds. And all of these are going to get torqued to 30 foot-pounds as well. For the two that are kind of buried down in here, a crow's foot is definitely going to be necessary. Alright, now I'm going to put the poppet stuff in, starting with the detent ball, then the spring, and then the hollow bolt. And I'm going to torque it to 15 foot-pounds. The other side's the same, detent ball, spring, and then the four-wheel drive indicator, which also serves as the poppet retainer. Next comes the linkage, followed by the pins and the clips. Alright, the last step is to install all of my rubber plugs. Little note to self, use a different table next time. That's going to do it for this video. Not a full rebuild, but definitely a pretty decent refresh. I didn't want to have an ugly transfer case bolted to the back of that nice transmission that I built. Now I'm going to install it back in the truck. And real quick, since I'm under here and I got everything put in, I just wanted to throw out the torque specs that are in the manual. So the center bearing is listed at 50 foot-pounds. This yoke is listed at 14 foot-pounds. And this double cardan joint is listed at 65 foot-pounds for those four. Transmission to transfer case is 35 foot-pounds. And obviously these units can run a lot of different oils, but this is what I'm running in mine. And once again, thanks for watching.